All right, everyone. Our local newspaper, the Rutland Herald, has had problems for some time, some years now. They've downsized. They stopped circulating their newspaper on a daily basis. Like, I think they do it 5 days a week now instead of 7 or something like that. It's sort of like the mail when they cut out a day or add a new holiday or whatever they're doing. The reason why the Rutland Herald did this is that they were actually getting ready to run into the red. Now, another step has been taken. Their old offices, which they've had in the downtown here in Rutland since the 1930s, they're actually closing those offices and moving to a new place on Grove Street here in Rutland, which is funny because they've got several ancillary properties there that they're selling off, which means that they're downsizing yet again. I think they already fired some people. They stopped circulating every day of the week. Their circulation is way down. Like the Rutland Herald maybe 10 years ago, I think had twice as many people reading it. Not even counting the extra days, the extra editions that are put out, just regular people who are subscribed to them. They've fallen on hard times, and largely this is because of the internet. Newsprint, unless it's a big newsprint company that produces its papers as a novelty, like the New York Times. Ultimately, the New York Times, where are they getting the bulk of their support from? They're getting it online. I think it's sad that there are people in the dedicated online community that even pay attention to such groups. As far as small, like local or regional papers, though, what the hell are they supposed to do to compete unless there's some big news, like if it's urban, like, again, New York Times, Los Angeles Times, something that takes place in a large city. Okay, the news there might be nationally relevant on a more regular basis. That rolls over into more readership. But the Rutland Herald, what happens in Rutland that the country is particularly interested in? I can think of a few things, like there was our mayor getting kicked out over the refugee issue, or the refugee issue itself, or the opiate epidemic. Largely, though, it's a vacuum. It's empty of content that the national audience would want. Here's the thing. I oppose globalism. I think globalism's a terrible idea when it's in the involuntary, centralized, post-national sense, like the EU or something. Clearly doesn't work. But global information sharing is wonderful. Here's the key. A local newspaper, nobody in any other country for the most part is going to read unless they're planning to immigrate to that area, so like one or two people. I can't imagine that there are many people in India or Malaysia that have ever read the Rutland Herald. They don't even know Rutland exists for the most part. So you got to play up to an international audience, a globalized audience, not globalistic, but globalized. You have to do that, otherwise you're less competitive. It's like over time, branching out into the Vermont issues thing. I'm doing this because I live in Vermont, but I'm under no illusion whatsoever that unless it's some diehard subscriber from somewhere else in the world that's been, on this channel potentially for years or something, I have no doubt that as far as new audience, anyone watching those videos, they're probably a Vermonter or they're from the general area, maybe New Hampshire, upstate New York. That's about as far as that reach would be. It's much more focused. But if I were to just have a channel that was nothing but Vermont issues, like during the election I'm only covering the Vermont side of politics, it's just about Vermont news, it would be less exciting, I think, to a lot of people. It would not be relevant largely outside of the state of Vermont, and it just wouldn't be feasible. Over time, it just wouldn't be feasible to do that. That's what these small town papers try to do, and it's not going to work. What they need to do is cut their losses. They should say to everybody at the Rutland Herald's offices, yeah, in the very near future, we will no longer exist as a company. So we're trying to sell off this property now. We're going to try to, give you all whatever we can from that sale, because, some of these people probably worked there for 20, 30 years. Sad, but there's really no need for this kind of small town newspaper, because there's not. I've never seen anybody, even in Vermont, refer to the Rutland Herald's website to post about something that they're trying to illustrate. Maybe the Burlington Free Press, maybe WCAX, never the Rutland Herald. I think the Valley News would probably be more of a go-to source. So there you have it. They're downsizing. Rightfully so. I mean, how are they supposed to survive in today's media climate? It's so much less effective and efficient. Like, they have to print up physical newspapers and mail them out. They could just do email based or have it on social media. Then it would cost zero. It would cost, hey, we have a person that we pay to manage the social media accounts. That's all. No paper. Don't need a big office floor to print everything. You don't need a bunch of trucks to ship anything out. It's not necessary. Well, it's more efficient. You save they'd probably save a six-figure total. But they would have to get started. I feel sorry for smaller firms. Some of them made the leap, and they did okay. Most of them didn't. Those that did not get on social media and did not consider the internet quite so important maybe 10 years ago as a way to spread information have been left in the dust. I'm sure at this point I have a greater circulation than the Rutland Herald. Then again, I probably have a larger audience than WCAX. I couldn't even find like their ratings, like how many people actually watch it. I bet it's less than the number of people that watch me every day. And I'm one person with basically no investment. I got a fucking laptop, a microphone, and a webcam. And I can outmaneuver WCAX or the Rutland Herald, maybe even the Burlington Free Press at this point. That's their inefficiency. They need 6 or 7 figure totals to amalgamate that audience. At the same time, they also, in addition to that, even if they're surviving, they do have to have someone to post on social media. Or at the very least, they want the figures that work there to have their own accounts be like, oh yeah, you should tweet frequently. Just don't bully anybody, don't swear or anything that could get us in trouble. But, ultimately, yeah, we want you to tweet all the time. Like if you're going on a bathroom break, we expect you to make 2 tweets before you come back to your desk. That sort of thing. That's how you drive attention in today's 24-hour news cycle. And also, the internet often scoops even local media. If there's a shooting somewhere, somebody taking footage on their phone who happens to be live recording at the time probably has scooped everybody else in the media. Somebody who's taken a recording gets it uploaded to YouTube. 5 minutes later, it's there with all the tags, the description, what they know, and everything. Another person, meanwhile, takes that. They're on the ground. They're doing reporting. They're not even getting paid to do this. So for some people, it's just a sort of an adventurous thing, or they want attention. Some of them do get paid, or they work for a smaller company, but it's internet only largely. Their reporters are armed with an iPhone. They're not armed with a news van that cost $500,000 full of equipment that cost $100,000 more. It's just not necessary in today's world. That's about all. Peace out.